Millfield, Ohio 1991. Marcus Reed and Alex Thompson were 8 years old, walking barefoot on the beach with rocks in their pockets they had been picking up all week. Marcus was stronger and bigger, with wide shoulders and dark hair that fell into his eyes as he looked out at the water. Alex was taller and thinner, with a big smile and quick words. His blonde hair stuck up in the wind no matter how much his mom tried to brush it down. Marcus liked to watch the water, but Alex wanted to test it, throwing stones farther, walking out deeper, daring Marcus to come with him. That night the lake was calm and pink from the last light of day. The boys had run down from the high ground to see who could reach the water first. Marcus was catching his breath and picking up a flat stone when Alex suddenly stopped talking. "Marcus," he said quietly. Marcus looked where Alex was staring. Something had washed up on the beach. At first he thought it was just a fish, a big one, bigger than he'd ever seen. But when they got closer, they could see something was very wrong. Its belly was ripped open, white ribs showing in the dim light, the insides missing. And the marks on its skin not from teeth, not from a boat motor. Long scratched lines like claws. They stood there with the water washing over their feet. Marcus dropped his stone. "What did that?" Alex asked. Marcus shook his head, though he didn't really want to know. "Maybe a bigger fish," he said. "No fish does that." Alex got closer, staring at the marks. Marcus felt scared and kicked sand at it, trying to smile. "Come on. Let's go back." But Alex kept staring. Later, when they were grown up, they wouldn't remember finding that fish. What they would remember was how that summer felt, the quiet of Lake Erie, and knowing that something was out there. Alex Thompson worked lake patrol on Lake Erie. Some days he checked markers, wrote down water flow, and helped fishermen whose boats broke down. Other times he worked at night, when people broke curfew, drunks, and kids who thought they were brave came out. Either way, if there was work to do on the lake, Alex was the one who went out. Millfield only had a few working boats left, and Alex's two were the only ones you could count on. One was the county's Boston Whaler Guardian, a 27-foot boat he used for patrol. The other was his sailboat Emma, tied up at the dock like a memory he couldn't let go of. The rest of the boats were junk, small boats fixed more times than painted, fishing boats that fell apart in rough water, one old fishing boat that leaked oil so bad you could follow its rainbow trail from the harbor all the way to the cliffs. If you needed a boat you could trust, you went to Alex. The patrol boat wasn't pretty. Hard plastic body, 2 motors, a big light on the front. Loud, but it worked. The kind of boat you sent out when the lake started taking more than it gave. Most times it was quiet. Someone breaking curfew. A drunk stuck in the harbor. Kids testing themselves against the dark. But after Sarah, after Tyler, after the Millers, quiet didn't mean safe anymore. It meant waiting. Since Sarah Hartley went missing, nothing in town felt the same. She was 8, and her footprints just stopped near the cliff. No body, no signs of fighting, it was like the lake opened up and swallowed her whole. 2 days later Tyler Brooks disappeared, and though he came back alive, it cost him. Marcus and Alex saw something that day on the shore, tall, smiling, claws in the mud. And then the Millers tried to run. Their car died on Lake Road, and by the time help got there the parents were gone. Only the kids lived, thanks to the town mechanic Robert Chen. That's what Millfield had become in just a few weeks, a place where the lake didn't just take lives, it ate whole families. And that was when Sheriff Marcus Reed made the rules. Stay out of the water. Don't walk the shore alone. No kids near the cliffs. If you saw something, call the sheriff. Those rules hung over Millfield like a warning bell everyone heard, whether they wanted to or not. But rules only went so far. Marcus still had to walk on land. Alex still had to patrol the water. They didn't have a choice. Most times started the same. Alex left from the harbor, the boat's 2 motors coughing once before settling into their steady sound. First stop was the markers, going around them one by one, writing down which ones were moving out of place or needed new paint. That morning he helped a fisherman whose motor died halfway to Palmer's Cliff. The men complained about bad gas and kicked his tackle box the whole ride, but Alex didn't push him. He just dropped the guy at the dock, filled out the help report, and moved on. Later, he found 2 teenagers in a beat-up boat fishing where they weren't supposed to be, close to the rocks, lines hanging in the water like they were after small fish. Alex pulled up next to them, told them to pack up, and didn't leave until they were headed back to town looking angry. It wasn't exciting work. Most times were like this: drunks, kids, broken motors. But Alex kept at it, every trip across the lake reminding him that quiet didn't mean safe. Later that morning, Alex tied up the boat, filled out his log book, and drove the few miles back inland. He liked living away from the shore, where the air smelled like grass and roads instead of weeds and salt water. At night, bugs were the loudest thing you heard, not the steady breathing of the lake. He'd barely closed his truck door when the screen door banged open and Jake came running out, glove already on, his dog Hunter walking close behind. "Dad. Catch." Jake held up the ball like it was a prize. Alex smiled, tired. "You don't waste any time, do you?" "You promised," Jake said, already walking backwards into the yard. Hunter ran a few steps after him before coming back, head tilted, as if checking that Alex was coming too. Alex sighed, rolling his shoulders. "Give me 5 minutes," he said. "Sheriff Reed says waiting around is the enemy of getting things done," Jake replied. Alex rolled his eyes. "What is the sheriff, some kind of drill sergeant now?" Jake stood thinking for a moment. "What's a drill sergeant?" "Doesn't matter," Alex replied, shaking his head and picking up his glove from the porch rail. "All right. Let's see what you've got." They started throwing easy, Jake's throws high and wild but full of energy. Between throws, Jake shared facts he'd learned from Marcus. "Did you know cops have special codes for everything? Like, a 10 to 7 means not working." Alex caught the ball. "Yeah. You calling me not working?" Jake smiled. Alex threw it back. "Keep talking like that, you're gonna be writing parking tickets before you're 10. Jake made a face. "I don't want to write tickets. I want to chase bad guys." "Chase bad guys, huh?" Alex said, catching the ball again. "That's a lot of running." "I'm fast," Jake shot back. Alex sent an easy throw. "Not faster than Hunter." "True," Jake said, his glove snapping shut as he caught it on the second try. "But Marcus says you don't have to be the fastest. You just have to be the one who doesn't give up." Alex smiled at that. "Yeah, that sounds like something he'd say." They kept throwing until Jake's arm got tired and his throws fell short. Finally Alex caught the ball and held it. "That's enough for now," he said. "Go wash up. Lunch soon." Jake thought for a second, then nodded and ran toward the porch, glove still hanging on his hand. Hunter followed close behind. Alex watched him go, the house quiet behind him, the yard still. For a few minutes, it felt almost normal. Later that afternoon, Marcus Reed walked Main Street late that afternoon, the sun low enough to make long shadows from the buildings. Millfield was strangely quiet. Stores that used to stay open until dinner were already dark, closed signs turned early, window shades pulled down. A couple of people waved as he passed, but mostly they kept their heads down, locking up, quietly hurrying home. He stopped outside Miller's Hardware, the owner pulling the front gate closed with a loud rattle of chain. Marcus nodded at him and kept walking, his boots heavy on the street. The town wasn't empty, just hushed, like everyone was waiting for something. Back in his police car, he scrolled through his phone until Rebecca picked up. The line crackled a bit, she was still away from town, staying with her mother. "Hey," Marcus said. "Just checking in." Her voice was warm and steady. "We're fine. The store was busy this morning, full of people. Everything seems normal out here." "Good," he said, looking down Main Street where the street lights hadn't even turned on yet and half the houses already sat dark. "Feels empty here." On the other end, Rebecca waited. She thought about the woman she'd seen at the store earlier, a young mom with a little kid pulling at her coat. The way she'd bent down to fix the child's hat, gentle and patient. It hurt more than she expected, left a pain she carried with her all day. Pregnancy tests hidden under her bathroom sink flashed through her mind, one after another. The waiting. The sadness. The way Marcus never said much about it, but she could see it on his face. She didn't say any of that now. Instead, she asked, "Any news?" Marcus rubbed his jaw, eyes looking down the empty street. Nothing new. People are staying inside. My officers are making their rounds. He left it hanging there, unclear, like if he didn't give details to the fear, it couldn't grow. Rebecca was quiet for a moment. Be careful. Neither of them said what they were really thinking. I should let you go, she said finally. You've got work. Yeah, Marcus answered. Get some rest if you can. I'll try. The line went dead, leaving Marcus staring at his own face in the windshield. For a moment, he sat there, listening to the car settling and the soft sound of wind in the trees. Then he started the engine and pulled back onto Main Street. That evening. Later that day, Alex was on evening patrol. Really, he was on most of them. The county called it a schedule, but that made it sound bigger than it was. Alex handled nearly everything on the water. There was one backup, a part-timer from Ashtabula who showed up when he felt like it, but most nights, most days, if something happened on Lake Erie, it was Alex's problem. He'd worked a few hours that morning, slept in the afternoon, and by sunset he was back at the harbor. That was how it went. Sleep in pieces, eat when you could, and try to keep the house from feeling too empty in between. Whenever Alex had a shift, Jake went with his grandfather. It had been that way since Emma died. Tom only lived about 5 minutes away, and he never once complained about picking the boy up. If anything, he seemed happy about it. He'd take Jake out to eat at whatever restaurant was still open, or walk him through the yard teaching him how to stack wood and tie knots. Jake loved it. The boy got excited when Tom's truck pulled up, like it was the best part of his week. Alex knew that his son loved him, but the kid loved his grandfather more. With Tom, there was always time for games or learning. With Alex, there were work reports, radio calls, and the lake pushing in every hour. When Tom came to the house, the two men barely talked. A nod one way, a nod back. A quick "you okay?" before Jake and his dog climbed into the truck. Their past sat between them. They didn't pick at it, didn't name it. Alex went to work, Tom took the boy, and that was how it was. The Guardian sat rocking gently at its spot, plastic body creaking against the dock posts. Alex put his clipboard and a bottle of coffee under the control panel, checked the spotlight, the radio, the gas. More habit than anything. If something went wrong out there, you didn't want to be caught without what you needed. He drove out of the harbor, the motors growling as the lights of town fell away behind him. Lake Erie stretched wide and black ahead of him, the sky getting darker in shades of purple. Out here, the rules meant nothing. Out here, it was just him, the water, and whatever lived beneath. The first hour passed quietly. He wrote down a marker that had moved from its spot, noted a big floating branch that could cause trouble for small boats. A lone bird circled and landed on the waves, its cry reminding him he wasn't the only living thing out here. He leaned back against the seat, looking across the water. The air was calm, carrying that watery smell that always came off the lake after sunset. It was the kind of night where you could almost relax. Almost. Alex was turning around, spotlight sweeping over the water, when he saw it, a thin gray line rising into the evening sky. At first it looked like a low cloud. But it didn't move with the wind. It went straight up. Smoke. He sat forward, pushed the throttle. The boat jumped ahead, cutting a narrow path across the flat water. The column of smoke grew as he got closer. It moved low across the water, heavy and black, carrying the smell of burning gas. As the boat pushed on, the shape of another boat rose out of the haze, the old fishing boat. Even from far away Alex knew it by the bent back end and the crooked cabin roof. Danny Morrison's wreck. Everyone in town knew it. Danny lived on that fishing boat, though everyone in Millfield pretended he didn't. Officially he had a small apartment above the laundromat, but anyone who spent more than 5 minutes near the docks knew better. The boat was patched with scrap metal in places, its cabin roof covered with tar again and again, windows stuffed with old insulation to keep out the wind. Inside, the kitchen table was covered with beer bottles and broken radios, the beds piled with dirty blankets and old magazines. Messy didn't begin to cover it.